In a garage, Charlie is repairing the airplane that his wife Sarah gave him for his birthday. She interrupts him to remind him that she will soon be traveling to a business conference in London and invites him to go with her. But Charlie refuses, saying he has many things to take care of. Later, Charlie arrives at the CIA headquarters where he works and passes through the security scanners he designed himself until reaching the decryption and analysis department. Suddenly, he receives a message from Inquilin, a mysterious contact from whom he has been buying classified information for years. This time, Inquilin offers him documents that could compromise the CIA and avoids Charlie's questions about his location, dismissing his assumption that he is in Istanbul. Charlie tries to decrypt the files Inquilin sent, but despite his great skill, he cannot decode the encryption. After lunch, his wife Sarah calls to tell him she has arrived in London, but Charlie already knew because he had been tracking her. He tells her he has no time to talk and hangs up, then takes his computer to a restricted area where an advanced system allows him to decrypt the content. Inside, he finds secret government files revealing a drone strike disguised as a terrorist attack. This operation was orchestrated and covered up by the government, leaving more than 150 victims, including French and Danish soldiers. The mission had been directed by Moore, Charlie's superior. That night at home, Charlie calls Sarah, but she doesn't answer, so he leaves her a voice message. The next day, Charlie arrives at the office and finds Moore waiting for him. He takes him to Oban, the new CIA director, who informs him that a terrorist attack at a hotel in London left Sarah among the victims. Charlie can't believe it and insists on calling her, but Moore turns on the TV showing news reports describing how 4 terrorists stormed the hotel, took several hostages, and killed 2 people, including Sarah. Security camera footage confirms what happened and Sarah's death. Devastated, Charlie returns home, facing a horde of reporters that the police keep back. The next day, Charlie confronts Moore and his supervisor Caleb, suspicious about the circumstances of the attack. He cannot understand how the terrorists managed to escape, avoiding thousands of cameras and the city's traffic. Moore promises to investigate, but Caleb sends him home. The next day, Charlie searches for Sarah's body and her belongings at the airport. When he opens her suitcase, he finds a gift she bought for him, which triggers an emotional breakdown. Tired of staying at home, Charlie returns to work and uses the restricted computer to hack into the hotel's cameras and the surrounding streets. He reconstructs a timeline. The 4 terrorists stole a vehicle and entered the hotel through the service entrance, eliminating fingerprints and DNA with professional precision. They had a meeting scheduled with an Indonesian company, but chaos erupted when they reached the hallway. A security guard from the company confronted the terrorists, and one of them opened fire, killing 1 guard and seriously injuring another. Hotel security alerted the police. Desperate to escape, the terrorists took hostages in the conference room, capturing Sarah when she tried to help others flee. Using facial and voice recognition, Charlie identifies the perpetrators: Grekin, a former intelligence officer; Miska from Moscow; Lawrence, South African Special Forces; and Horst, a mercenary. The lack of reaction from Moore and Caleb makes him suspect that they are behind everything, but his superiors assure him they are working on it and send him to a therapist. The next day, Charlie hides a chip in his ID badge and passes through the scanners undetected. In his office, he prints the classified files and makes a digital copy of them. The next morning, he confronts his superiors with the printed classified files, exposing Moore's dirty missions, such as the bombing of a Syrian hospital and an attack on an Allied base in Yemen that killed thousands of civilians. He threatens to take everything to the director and reveals that he has a dead man's switch. If he doesn't enter a code every 5 hours, the evidence will be sent to major news outlets to expose them. In exchange for his silence, Charlie demands full CIA training, fake passports, money, a weapon, and information on Sarah's killers. After the meeting, overwhelmed, Charlie vomits in his car. At the office, Moore believes Charlie is lying about the dead man's switch device, but Caleb says they can't take the risk. They plan to search for the device and, if it turns out to be a bluff, arrange a fatal accident during training to kill him. Caleb and his team investigate how Charlie managed to copy the files and suspect he did it using a chip in the printer. since the secure computers are impenetrable. They review the security cameras and confirm that Charlie indeed used that method, but they can't understand how he managed to hide the chip from the scanners in order to bring it into the building. They search his house and discover that he visited a bar twice. There, they find an Ava CD under the jukebox, but when they play it, it only produces noise. Meanwhile, Charlie arrives at a CIA training facility where Colonel Henderson welcomes him. On the shooting range, Charlie proves to be a terrible marksman, missing most of his shots. However, when it comes to bomb making, he works with astonishing speed and precision. Later, Henderson pushes him physically while teaching him his new identity, ensuring he can recite it even under stress and threat. Eventually, they give him the forged passports. That night, Henderson visits Charlie and tells him he is not a killer, but Charlie insists on seeking justice. Henderson hands him a gun and asks Charlie to point it at him, but Charlie becomes extremely distressed and can't stop trembling until he lowers the gun. At the office, the agents decode the CD they found and discover that the dead man's switch device was, in fact, a lie. They inform Moore, who orders Henderson to arrest Charlie, but Charlie had been listening and had already escaped. He disposes of his earpiece and boards a plane. Upon arriving in London, he goes through customs and heads to Paris, where his fake passport is detected by CIA systems, prompting Moore to send Henderson after him. In Paris, Charlie rents a room near a restaurant that Gretchen, the terrorist, frequents. When she appears, Charlie hacks her phone and steals information. He then heads to her building, and when a neighbor steps out, he slips inside. Using a YouTube tutorial, Charlie lockpicks her apartment door, and once inside, he takes photos of her planner and finds a gun, which he keeps. Suddenly, the tracker on Charlie's phone alerts him that Gretchen is approaching, so he leaves the apartment and hides in the stairwell. When she arrives, he points his gun at her, but he can't bring himself to shoot. Disappointed in himself, he returns to the hotel, imagining Sarah waiting for him. While reviewing the photos, he discovers that Gretchen frequently visits a hospital, and by hacking into her medical records, he finds out she has several allergies. The next morning, Charlie buys a large amount of flowers and then follows Gretchen to the hospital, where she undergoes medical tests. When the doctor leaves her alone, Charlie enters disguised as a physician and locks Gretchen inside the machine, filling the chamber with pollen. She panics and begs to be let out, but Charlie demands Horst's location in exchange for freeing her. Her pollen allergy weakens her, making it hard for her to speak, so Charlie opens the chamber, but Gretchen shoves him onto a desk. They fight fiercely, destroying all the equipment. Charlie pulls out his gun, but Gretchen knocks him down and manages to escape. Charlie chases her out into the street, but before he can stop her, a car hits her. Horrified, he approaches her body and, after taking her phone, begins to flee while removing his doctor's coat. That night, he buys a bus ticket to Marseille. The news of Gretchen's death reaches the CIA. Aubin interrogates Moore, who admits it appears to be the work of one of their own. That night, overwhelmed by guilt over Gretchen's death, Charlie goes to a bar to drink and mistakes a woman for Sarah. Henderson can't find Charlie, and Charlie escapes by pushing through the crowd. He takes refuge in another bar and locks himself in the bathroom. But Henderson follows him and waits outside. Charlie has no choice but to come out. They have a conversation in which Henderson reveals he tracked him by tracing Gretchen's phone. Suddenly, Charlie shows him a timer on his phone and escapes just as a bomb he planted explodes in the bathroom. Amid the chaos, Henderson loses sight of him and the phone tracker stops working. The next morning, Charlie contacts Inquilin and travels to Turkey on a cargo plane. In Istanbul, he meets Inquilin in a restaurant and they go for a walk together. The woman already knows about Sarah, and soon they get into a car, where Inquilin takes him to her home. On the way, Inquilin tells him she decided to become a hacker 6 years ago after her husband died. He was a CIA agent working undercover inside the Russian intelligence agency. Officially, he died after falling out of a window, but everyone knows the Russians killed him when they discovered he was a spy. In fact, he was the real Inquilin, and now she has chosen to continue his legacy. When they arrive at her home, she reveals it's the only place she has stayed in for more than 3 years, and admits she is tired of running. She even keeps a gun to take her own life if the Russians ever find her. Later, the two discuss the case. Horst hires mercenaries for Moore. Lawrence is an arms dealer, and Miska travels constantly, documenting everything on social media. They analyze the photos and find a woman with Miska. Using facial recognition, they find her Instagram and discover she is in Spain. The next day, Caleb orders surveillance on the terrorists to locate Charlie. Oban confronts Moore for carrying out unauthorized covert missions, but he dodges her questions just as he did with her predecessor. After the meeting, Oban returns to her car, and her assistant shows her a photo of Henderson in Spain, clearly sent there by Moore. So Oban sends her own agent after him. Meanwhile, Charlie and Inquilin track down Miska by accessing the security cameras of a hotel in Madrid. Charlie checks into the same hotel and discovers that Miska swims in a pool connecting two buildings across the rooftop. The next day, Charlie builds a device to trap Miska and hides it in the hotel. He follows the terrorist to the bar, unaware that Henderson is in the lobby. Charlie spots another man he recognizes, so he suspects he's being followed. When he asks Inquilin for info, she confirms the man is a CIA agent sent by O'Brien. She also spots Henderson through the cameras and tells Charlie to get out, but he insists on finishing his plan. When Miska is swimming in the pool, Charlie confronts him and demands Horst's location, threatening to destroy the pool. Miska doesn't believe him and tries to escape by swimming away, but Charlie activates the device, causing the glass bottom to shatter and Miska to fall to his death. Inquilin quickly warns Charlie that Henderson and O'Brien's agent are closing in and gives him instructions to escape. Henderson finds him and begins chasing him, but O'Brien's agent suddenly appears and attacks Henderson. The two fight in the laundry room, and the agent pulls a gun and shoots Henderson, but Henderson wrestles it from him and shoots him back, leaving both of them severely injured. Charlie, who saw everything, decides to run away instead of helping. The next day, O'Brien interrogates Moore about what happened and shows him footage from the hotel. Meanwhile, Caleb and his team discover that Charlie wasn't working alone. After decrypting the messages on his phone, they realize he was being helped by Inquilin and deduce that the wife of the original Inquilin has taken over his identity. That night, Charlie and Inquilin sleep together seeking comfort, but alarms wake them, warning that agents have appeared on the security cameras. They escape through a hidden tunnel and reach another building, leaving just moments before the agents arrive. Inquilin's computer automatically wipes all files, leaving no trace behind. On the beach, they get into a car, but one of the agents spots them, and soon other agents begin chasing them, even shooting at them from a boat. After a brutal pursuit, Inquilin is killed by a gunshot. Charlie moves her body to the passenger seat and takes the wheel to escape, eventually managing to lose the agents. He leaves the car in a garage and gives her a final goodbye kiss. The next day, Charlie contacts Lawrence, pretending to be an arms dealer to arrange a meeting. He buys several items to build a bomb and travels to Romania. In an abandoned building, he records his face and hacks a camera in Berlin to trick the CIA into thinking he is there. When Lawrence arrives, he finds a ringing phone. Charlie tells him to look inside a box, but when he does, he discovers a set of bombs that will detonate if he moves. Charlie appears and demands the location of Horst. Horst was the one who shot Sarah. Lawrence promises to tell him where to find him if Charlie disarms the explosives. Lawrence reveals that Horst operates in Russian waters, overseeing shipments at a Baltic port. His men can only contact him through secret codes stored in their phones, and Lawrence gives Charlie a list of everything he needs to reach him. Charlie takes it and leaves, activating the bombs that kill Lawrence. Soon after, the CIA learns about Lawrence's death in Romania and realizes Charlie isn't in Berlin. In a Russian hotel, Charlie imagines Sarah and opens the gift she left him, a puzzle that he quickly solves, revealing a sweet message from her. At dawn, he goes to the port, identifies a suspicious vehicle, and sends the secret code to Horst's men. When one of them checks his phone, Charlie follows him to a boat and photographs him. Later, at the hotel, he tracks the yacht it belongs to and obtains its registration number. He also studies the maritime routes Horst might take. The next morning, Charlie approaches the boat, but someone knocks him out, making him drop the puzzle. He is taken aboard the yacht where he meets Horst, who found the bomb Charlie had planted earlier. Horst, noticing Charlie killed all the other operatives indirectly, hands him a gun and challenges him to shoot him face to face. But Charlie can't do it and lowers the weapon. Suddenly, the yacht changes course and the crew panics. Charlie reveals that he hacked the yacht system, which is controlled by the CIA, and set it to head toward Finland. Minutes later, the Finnish Navy and Interpol surround the yacht, arresting Horst and his team. Later, O'Brien announces in a press conference the capture of the corrupt agents who had been using CIA resources for for illegal operations. Henderson approaches Charlie, expressing pride in what he did. Charlie visits the grave of his wife Sarah and finally flies the plane she gave him as a gift.